Hello everyone, just an impromptu video because some people are being a bit too loud about Jungkook lately. With his success, of course, people are bringing him up where they don't need to start a hate train against him, so I had to jump in and make a video pointing out how dumb you all look. Firstly, people are going crazy after Jungkook did a live stream in bed where he was shirtless. Let me just give you some quick insight. Here is his ID. Don't ask me why I have it. Now, what does it say right there? He is indeed an adult. And not that it matters, but he only had his arms showing, so it's not his fault if only his arms get you this riled up. But they used this to try to point out double standards between male and female idols. Now, am I going to sit here and deny that female idols get hated on for so many things that male idols don't? Of course not. There are so many instances of male and female idols doing the same thing, and female idols get hated on while male idols get a free pass. Say something rude to your member? Well, it's savage if you're a male idol, and you're a bitch if you're a female idol. That is not a new idea. It's also not exclusive to K-pop. That's just how things are even in the real world. Sucks, doesn't it? I'm also not saying that BTS as men haven't benefited from this double standard because guess what? Intentional or not, consciously or not, all men have benefited from it. So that's not my point either. But what's stupid here is how it never quite works out when you try to use BTS as an example, usually the sole example for the male side, because it's not the issue you end up focusing on, but your hate for BTS. Don't know what I mean? Well, let's look a little bit closer at this tweet about double standards. The tweet seems to begin making some good points, it seems promising, but very quickly you notice how it's not about double standards anymore, it's about BTS. I mean, at this point, just make a hate tweet against BTS and be done with it. Saves us all a lot of time. My problem here isn't that double standards aren't real. Like I said, I'm with you all the way when I say that it is disgustingly alive and thriving. But the issue here is when you all try to present this comparison or showcase your performative wokeness. But it is clear that what you care about isn't the issue at hand, but the BTS members against whom you're trying to build your case. And if that's not true, then why are BTS's actions, lyrics, and statements, some out of context, from 10 years ago being used as an example of double standards? Your thread had the opportunity to tackle real issues but ended up being a sour excuse to hate on BTS. But you didn't realize something that I'll make clear for you. Your comparisons don't work so well when you realize BTS members get hated on for breathing too loud. Doesn't really help your case at all because taking gender outside of the equation for a second, BTS happen to be some of the most hated celebrities. And here you are, attempting to make it seem like Jungkook doing a live stream where he shows off his shoulders is something a woman would get hated on for. Firstly, I don't think a female idol has ever gotten hate for showing off their arms. But if it is about live streaming in bed, sure, there are many instances where a female idol may have been hated on for being, quote, inappropriate. But doesn't the fact that you're hating on him now disprove your point? Because in both cases, whether it was a male or female idol, the issue here is at your end. They are doing a live stream in their own beds. No suggestive blanket placement, no sexy connotations. It's you who's sexualizing it. So if you were saying, but what if a female idol also consider the double standard you are participating in while dragging Jungkook because you are all the same people going feral commenting keyboard smashes at all of this? But Jungkook is when you realize the, quote, double standards. No one said showing skin was wrong, but if it is wrong, it's wrong in every instance. And if it's right, it's also right in every instance. You can't pick and choose, and if you do, well then sweethearts, that's what a double standard is. Yes, male idols get a lot of free passes, and female idols just don't. But guess who else doesn't get a lot of free passes? BTS. They could be doing anything and still get hated on, so they really do make really bad examples for this kind of comparison. But I won't pretend and say there hasn't been something that maybe Jungkook did that a female idol got hated on for. But you know what else has happened? Jungkook got hated on for falling asleep on a live stream because you all called him a quote perv for falling asleep with minors. To make someone who had trouble sleeping, came on live to spend time with fans, and ended up falling asleep seem like they're a villain. That could only happen to BTS. But let's go further. Jungkook has also gotten hated on for folding his laundry. Check your bingo cards, folks. Has that ever happened to anyone else? Nope? Just Jungkook? You all are still using BTS's fuck-ups from 2013, when most of them were teenagers, against them today, against their adult selves, when they have all shown growth and worked on their issues. But even that is something you want to mock. But your faves can continue releasing songs with problematic and misogynistic lyrics even today, as full-grown adults, and get caught saying slurs, and say inappropriate things about minors and worse. In fact, there are so many male groups and idols that are doing some wild things that would get BTS hated on in a jiffy. Maybe use them as an example sometimes, but no, they are bold, they're breaking the mold of K-pop. It's the fixation on BTS that makes your point weak. Women do get shamed for things that is considered the norm for men, but you can't just go around creating a false narrative as examples when there are so many real ones out there. Use those. And how are you comparing that to Irene recommending a feminist book and having her picture cards burnt? Was that vile and disgusting and an absolutely clear depiction of how hateful fans can be towards female idols? Yes, but why have you made the cover of your thread that and Jungkook saying the F word? I see the effort to show off your performative feminism, but what you're doing is establishing nothing and looking stupid while you're at it. And if it's about Irene recommending the book and getting hate while Namjoon didn't, yes, this is definitely an example of double standards. It is also an example of fan culture and the difference between fanboys and fangirls. Still a double standard, but what's screwed up is you thinking blaming RM is the solution. But you know what, if you focused on how it was perceived, then sure, valid example, and one I'm okay with you using BTS for, just as long as you don't blame RM. Coming back to the point, how are you going to come for a 26-year-old man for singing a swear word when 4th-gen groups with members half his age have songs with the same swear word? When TXT do it, it's cool. Lay Seraphim, slay. G-Idol, that's awesome. And then Jungkook, who's literally older than all of them, dares to swear, and suddenly it's all, but if a female idol did this? They have. The only difference is that while K-pop idols have always made sexual songs, they always hid it between lyrics about cake, ice cream, soda, firecrackers, and birthdays. And these songs go into details too, just saying. But Jungkook can't just say fucking you, right? And now get ready for the biggest double standard when it comes to Jungkook. Which one of your faves have gotten hated on for just eating an apple? Anyone? There are things BTS have been hated on for that other K-pop groups, male and female, 3rd gen and 4th gen, do openly and multiple times, but K-pop stans would rather focus on double standards with only BTS as an example than confront the double standards they all participate in. Because without creating fan wars, I can think of actual double standards with male idols that were barely discussed when a female idol would have gotten thrown to the wolves. Again, use BTS where it applies to point out society's obsession with hating on women. Like I said, when I saw this tweet, I thought we were going to have a real discussion. But if you're going to reduce actual issues to stroke your hate boner against BTS, you're doing more harm than good. Using Jungkook in these performative feminism threads, making it seem like he's some fuckboy asshole for swearing and folding his laundry. You could have made some real points and used actual examples, pointed out the real double standards, but like I said, you don't care about the real issue, do you? And for people who are trying to make this a girl group stan versus boy group stan issue, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I don't choose who to stan on gender. I choose based on music and performance. I know that standing more girl groups isn't magically going to make me a beacon of feminism, and standing boy groups isn't going to be making me a misogynist either, because guess what? I have this niche thing called common sense. Again, This video isn't trying to deny the very real and blatant double standards that happen, not only in K-pop but everywhere, but showing you how using actual issues as ammunition for fan wars, where you blindly overlook the problems of your own faves, some even in 2023, to target BTS's statements from 2013, isn't the slay you thought it was. You could have made actual points talking about the disgusting hate rooted in double standards that your own faves get, making it a post with substance and something to learn from, but instead you went deep inside a BTS hole and went back as far as over 10 years trying to find something to get them hated on. In my next video, I guess I'm going to have to teach common sense since clearly we're not in our thinking and reflecting era anymore.